Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Don't feel 100 today, but I wanted to get a video to you because I wanted to try to be consistent. One of the things I want to talk to you about is my cancer diagnosis and my choice to do chemo and not to do radiation. So I'm going to recommend that obviously, you consult with your doctor and you always do your own research. Your doctors are going to give you a lot of good information, but it is really imperative that you do your own research. So when I was diagnosed with cancer, my videos, I have a video. I'm sure I have videos because I've made lots of videos about different things, but diagnosed with cancer, it was a very aggressive lobular cancer. So it was breast cancer that they found in my left breast, but it had already, by the time I found it, they said stage 2, but by the time they found it, it had already spread to the lymph nodes under my left arm. So at this point, my left arm is a lot weaker and I don't use it quite as much because there's the potential for lymphedema if you injure it, or you put too much weight on it or whatever. So, and with the whole lymphedema scare, I do have mild lymphedema right now because I lifted a really heavy, I think it was water bottles or like the corporate water bottles or boxes or something at work. Anywho, I do have slight lymphedema, and so what happens is your arm swells, and it's a little bit larger than my left arm is a little bit larger than my right. But anywho, because my cancer was so aggressive, they went ahead and did the surgery really quickly, and so immediately after, and I did not do the proper research because I was just like, OMG, I have cancer. And, all we know, I mean, I know that there have been leaps and bounds with regards to improvements of treatment and so forth. But all I could think of is cancer means I'm going to die. My grandmother had cancer and she passed as a result. So, yeah, it's just kind of a scary thought. So, anywho, the doctor said, we want to go right into chemo immediately because we want to make sure, although they were reasonably certain that they had gotten out all the cancer because I had a double mastectomy, they were concerned about like the microscopic cancer cells that may have spread somewhere throughout the body. So we went forth with a very aggressive chemotherapy, and I could talk to you about my chemotherapy sessions in another video, but yeah, so I went, it was 4 sessions. Typically it's 6 sessions, but for me it was 4 sessions because they wanted to go super aggressive. So yeah, after the sessions I felt sick, just like the stories that you hear. And again, I'll have another video that will share with you in more detail about what it was like and how I felt and so forth. But one of the things, again, I wanted to just reiterate to make sure that you do your research, because the recommendation would be after, excuse me, the recommendation for my type of cancer and for how it had progressed would be chemotherapy followed by radiation. I opted out of radiation. Radiation is different for everybody, just like chemo. Your body responds differently. For me, chemo was so hard on my body that I did not want to endure any radiation. And realistically, with the research that I did, there was nothing that supported the need for me to do radiation after chemo. Again, chemo had me really sick, and so it's different for different people, but for some people, radiation makes them really sick. Now, I have a couple of girlfriends that I know who had radiation and they had no problems, but I just know what my experience was with the cancer and then with the surgery and then the radiation. It was really intrusive. And don't get me wrong, I am beyond grateful. Like, I don't have words to say how appreciative and how grateful I am for, not for the experience necessarily, but for all of the people who were with me and for me and supported me and doctored on me, nursed on me, all of that, all of the support. I am eternally grateful for my husband, my family, my friends, and the doctors, everybody. I'm just so unbelievably grateful. But I know my body, and I just could not put myself through another 4 to 6 weeks of treatment for something, radiation, that it was not conclusively going to help my situation anymore. So this video is simply to say, do your research. Chemotherapy over radiation. Now, I had a couple people that I know who did just radiation and they were fine. Now, again, I didn't do any research on the chemotherapy because I was just kind of in disbelief. And so whatever the doctor said, I went with. And so we did the chemotherapy, but with the radiation, I did do some research, and I actually went to talk to a couple of people about what radiation is and how radiation works and what happens with radiation. And then I also talked to someone who gave a candid view of what radiation does after chemo. And so for me, again, I don't want to influence anybody one way or another, but for me, it just did not make sense. And I knew that my body was already struggling to recover. And not only did I have, after the chemo, I had probably 6 other surgeries, because I had to have the surgery where I got the, what do they call? The inserts, spacers. I had spacers put in. So spacers is where, because I was like completely flat chested, like maybe even inverted. It seems so flat. And so I had to, because I had D's, and so I had, huge breasts before. And then to go from D's to like a flat chest, it looked like my breasts were inverted. Like I had absolutely nothing. So anywho, after chemo, I had the surgery where I had to put the spacers in, and then I had to go back every week, and I had to get fluid inserts. So they had to put fluid in in the spacers. So what that would do was stretch the skin. So I know this is going into a whole nother topic, but I'm saying all of that to say, then I had multiple other surgeries, one to remove the spacers, and then I had reconstructive surgery, so forth and so on. So anywho, my choice again was chemo only. I could not find any conclusive research that supported that I would benefit from having radiation. So do your research if at all possible. Now, with regards to the chemo portion, I didn't really have a lot of time to do research. One, because I was like dumbfounded with the whole idea that I had cancer. And then secondly, it was in such an aggressive state that we had to move really, really quickly. So I did not do the research on chemotherapy, but I did on radiation. So I just want to, again, encourage you to do your research. Thank you so much for watching. Pray with me, pray for me. I'm not feeling well. I have these headaches that have, for whatever reason, come back. And so for the last 2-3 days, I've been struggling with headaches. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you continue to watch. If you see another video really soon with this shirt, it's because it says, I love my curves, curls, color, and culture. If you see another video with this shirt, it's because I plan on doing a couple of videos today if I can get it done. I just really am struggling a little bit right now. So have a great day. I appreciate you.